The Supreme Court of Appeal here in Bloemfontein has set aside Oscar Pistorius' culpable homicide conviction and replaced it with one of murder.
In the result, on count 1 in the indictment, the accused ought to have been found guilty of murder on the basis that he had fired the fatal shots with criminal intent in the form of dolus eventualis. As a result of the errors of law referred to, and on a proper appraisal of the facts, he ought to have been convicted not of culpable homicide on that count, but of murder. In the interest of justice, the conviction and the sentence imposed in respect thereof must be set aside and the conviction substituted with a conviction of the correct offence.
Judge Eric Leach found that Judge Thokozile Masipa incorrectly applied the principle of dolus eventualis to the facts.
What was in issue, therefore, was not whether the accused had foreseen that Reeva might be in the cubicle when he fired the fatal shots at the toilet door, but whether there was a person behind the door who might possibly be killed by his actions. The accused's incorrect appreciation as to who was in the cubicle, on his version, is not determinative of whether he had the requisite criminal intent. Consequently, by confining its assessment of dolus eventualis to whether the accused had foreseen that it was Reeva behind the door, the trial court misdirected itself as to the appropriate legal issue.
Leach further found that the court did not properly consider all the circumstantial evidence.
In this regard, the failure of the court to take into account the evidence of Captain Mangana, a police forensic expert whose evidence as to the reconstruction of the crime scene was found by the court to have been particularly useful, is of particular importance. Having regard to the position of the bullet holes in the door, the marks the bullets left in the toilet cubicle, and the position of the injuries on the deceased body, and after making use inter alia of laser technology, he determined that the deceased must have been standing behind the door when she was first shot and then collapsed down towards the toilet bowl. All of this was circumstantial evidence crucial to a decision on whether the accused at the time he fired the fatal 4 shots must have foreseen and therefore did foresee the potentially fatal consequences of his actions.
The Supreme Court of Appeal has referred the matter back to the High Court, where Judge Thokozile Masipa will once again hear sentencing arguments. This is expected to take place early next year. Barry Bateman, Eyewitness News, Supreme Court of Appeal, Bloemfontein.